My name is Angel Lateral, and when it comes to practicing law, I resonate with the human spirit just as much as the judicial system. This isn't your typical business legal advice show, and I'm not your typical lawyer. As an attorney, I have over 16 years of legal experience in the areas of business law and estate planning. As a project manager, I love building and nurturing systems that work. And as a certified guide in the lineage of King Solomon, transformation consultant, and practicing Buddhist, I know this all starts with a healthy mindset. Welcome to the Laws of Abundance podcast. Legal advice from an angel. I'm your host, Angel Lateral. The real joy of the season. Investigating the terror of joy. Joy is a term we hear often, and will even more as we get farther into the holiday season. But this simple word is actually a lot more complicated than we may think. Brene Brown is famously quoted as saying to Oprah, "The most terrifying, difficult emotion we experience as humans is joy." Wait a second. Joy is our most terrifying, difficult emotion? Leave it to humans to find terror and overcomplicate joy. So why is this beautiful word, filled with so much hope and heart, considered terrifying? Because as soon as we have it, we are afraid we're going to lose it. Brene Brown also says, when we lose our tolerance for vulnerability, joy becomes foreboding. So many people, in the moments of joy, dress rehearse tragedy so they can beat vulnerability to the punch. So what on earth really is joy? Why is it so darn scary? Why does it elude people? Where does it come from? I was recently on an airplane flying to Toronto, Canada, and I finally watched Roadrunner, the story about Anthony Bourdain and his death by suicide. Near the end of listening to people that were his actual family and friends talk about their loss and how they had watched Anthony fall into something dark that eventually took him away, I was crying my eyes out, right there on the airplane, in empathy for all of them and his lost soul. The level of pain he fell into, utter lack of meaning, the lack of joy, in a life that brought so much joy to so many. But I don't know if Anthony knew how much he meant to people, or if he just felt pressure to perform and wear his masks. Anthony Bourdain was one of my heroes. When I started my travel blog, I wanted to be like him. I aspired to be a female Anthony Bourdain, not some type of bad girl chef because that's not me, but solo woman traveler, going places women hadn't gone before alone, showing other women that you can adventure solo, safely, to many, many places of your own accord and see the world. I'd watch him and see that Anthony was always had friends, though, everywhere he went, that showed him the places he was traveling to, and I wondered, how did you get that? Then I'd be like, duh, it's TV, Angel. He has a producer and people that arrange these things. You, on the other hand, are just stumbling around the globe in the dark, going to strange places and putting myself through travel shock therapy. It was fun, though. Travel shock therapy and adventure brings me joy. I digress, though. So Anthony equaled hero, was on a pedestal, and a person who I believed had everything I wanted. I wanted to travel for a living, to eat all the things, to experience all of the things, and he was doing that. And then one day, he was dead by suicide. I couldn't process it. I was in shock, and it was actually that summer that I decided my purpose in life was of a higher calling than simply experience. I needed to find a way to bring light to others so no more Anthonys ever happened. I needed to find a way to bring real joy to people and give people a way to find joy for themselves, because a life without joy is not a life lived and can result in decisions like suicide. Thus, I can help with that. Metaphysical Options for a Joyful Life was born, and I chose to step up in higher service to my mystery school lineage as a ritual master and do more service to humanity as a whole. I have a degree in philosophy. I've studied the meaning of life from multiple perspectives. I'm a guide in a 3,000-plus-year-old mystery school lineage. I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Kabbalist. I've tried abstinence. I've tried hedonism. I've tried codependence, independence, psychedelics, obsessive traveling. All this in search of one thing, joy. And here I am, still asking, what is joy? If you look at the sad story of Anthony Bourdain's life, you know joy cannot be found outside yourself. even if you're a brilliant, fearless, talented world traveler. Because joy also can't be found by lying to yourself and wearing a mask. When I'm most miserable and devoid of meaning in my actions and drained to my core, it's in situations where I am performing a role that is not authentically me. I tried to be a normal lawyer in a law firm, and it just led me to the bottom of a bottle. The only numbing I could find while having to watch my soul die slowly. Climbing the corporate ladder and playing politics, pretending to smile at assholes. In fact, when I started in corporate, a friend of mine poked fun at my lack of poker face. She would say to me, "Angel, you can literally see your eyes roll so far back into your head when the narcissist idiots start talking. You're going to have to work on that, or someone's going to think you're having a seizure." I did work on that, and it got me nowhere but tired and burned out, but I sure could facilitate a great meeting where everyone felt good about the nothing we accomplished. When you die and stand at the gates of the afterlife, it is said that Anubis will ask you 2 questions. Have you experienced joy? Have you brought joy to others? Joy is all that matters. But what the fuck is it? And how do we get it? You can't buy it, you can't fake it, and even a lot of us are afraid of it. The rune Wunjo that translates to joy looks like a flag waving in victory. On the rune sphere, it has the cosmological characteristics of harmony and order, and it requires 3 things. 1, prosperity, meaning the balance of inflow and outflow of energy. 2, bliss, to be filled with a sense of meaningfulness. 3, a good house of the soul, i.e. a healthy body free from negative influences. Okay, great theoretical explanation, Angel. But still, what the hell is joy then? The other day I was driving my partner to the airport for him to go back to work for another 4-week-long hitch on a ship in the Gulf of Mexico. The Indigo Girls song Closer to Fine came on, and I finally got it. The lyrics of that song are all about searching for joy, and I realized I've actually lived the song in my life. I sailed my ship of safety till I sank it. And the difference between those who embrace joy and live joy and those stuck in fear and safe routes is the practice of gratitude, the foundation of an abundance mindset, the physical act of stating out loud and writing down words of gratitude, observing and being aware of all of the little things in life that we are grateful for. So in that moment of joy, we don't get terrified of it and make up a story about how it's not real or run away from it. Instead, we give it an embrace with gratitude. This is energetically like the 3 parts of the joy rune. Prosperity, the balance of inflow and outflow of energy, plus bliss, being filled with meaningfulness. And this is what gratitude does. Practicing gratitude, that is. And 3, a good house for the soul, i.e. stopping the negative influence of negative thoughts by practicing gratitude versus allowing in the negative thought patterns of scarcity and rehearsing tragedy. We can literally be overrun by negative thought patterns, our own. They literally create ruts in our brain that our neurons keep repeating. Meditation research shows that people who meditate are actually firing more paths of neurons because they clear those negative patterns. They smooth out the ruts. Gratitude research shows the practice of writing positive words and thoughts every day makes people more able to learn new things, which means there must be more neurological activity as a result of gratitude. It is definitely easier to listen if monkey mind and negative Nelly mind aren't bubbling on about some false experience appearing real. Fear, false experience appearing real. It's what kills joy and kills people's lives and puts us into lack. So people like Anthony choose to kill themselves in the face of loss when they literally have a rich, abundant life. But physical abundance doesn't mean you have mental abundance and joy. So many spiritual people actually believe you can't be physically abundant, i.e. have lots of money, and still be spiritual, because they see a lot of rich, miserable, or quote-unquote rich bad people. But this is bullshit. Money is just energy. I wish there were more rich, joyful, and happy spiritual people. Look at Jimmy Carter and how much he has done for the world. He's a man of means, of spirituality, and joy. I bet if we asked financially abundant, joyful people what their secret was, they would say gratitude and likely faith. I know a lot of abundant spiritual people, and they're in the flow because they're actively cultivating joy, gratitude, and royalty in their lives through service to themselves and others. But the foundation is gratitude as a daily practice, and a daily practice of being on their path to and in joy. And that practice and being on the path being the goal, not the end game. Enlightenment is not a static place. Buddha never said, you get there and then you're done. He got there and then his work began. So this week, my law of abundance is this. Never give up your quest for joy. And remember, it is the smallest thing that brings it, which is the moment-by-moment, daily life-long practice of cultivating gratitude in the present moment. Joy doesn't live in the past. Joy doesn't live in the future. Joy lives in the now. No one can give it to you or take it away. We can experience heartbreak. Yes, we can experience pain, but we can also experience joy. Hiding from our lives does not reduce our ability to feel heartbreak and pain. These will still happen, but hiding behind masks and not really living will certainly reduce our joy. It is terrifying to be vulnerable, but in that vulnerability, you find also the doorway to freedom and joy. For me, sitting there crying on an airplane for a stranger named Anthony Bourdain, the tragedy I was crying for was the fact that he may never have lived. He didn't love himself. He was a mask. He didn't get to feel true joy as Anthony. He just played Anthony on TV, and his answer to Anubis at the gates of the afterlife was probably no to both questions, with a very well-written diatribe as to how no one in this world could possibly answer yes. Because he literally couldn't see the joy he brought to others, because he couldn't see how to have joy himself. His addictions got in the way. His ship of safety kept sailing. For me, it is a reminder and a wake-up call for my masks. Lawyer, project manager, teacher, traveler, lightworker, girlfriend, sister, daughter, spiritual guide. They aren't enough in this life if I do not experience joy. And joy is not going to come from another person, a bottle, a food, a trip to an exotic location. It's not going to come from my next accomplishment. It is only going to come from me being grateful for every little thing. From me loving myself enough to allow myself to be loved, to show the world who I am, and to do scary things. Not to torture myself, but to rip off the masks I wear and show myself to the world. To take myself less seriously. It's only life after all. So in the words of the Indigo Girls, let's remember darkness has a hunger that is insatiable, and lightness has a call that's hard to hear. But you can hear it. Practice listening. Write down that little thing you are grateful for. Today, it's the snoring of my dog cuddled up next to me. It's the daily good morning text from my partner and him telling me I'm beautiful. It was the privilege of sitting around a fire with friends in the Seattle rain. Knowing for me to bring joy to others, I must experience first joy for myself. This is the secret sauce. I must first love myself enough to be myself. To practice this art of vulnerability and of gratitude and failing forward, learning from each misstep and enjoying the feeling when I fall. A leap of faith is a joyful thing because the landing, rough or soft, is always better than having stayed at the cliff afraid to jump. The biggest tragedy we have to avoid is not living our life alive. A leap of faith is a joyful thing because the landing, rough or soft, is always better than having stayed at the cliff afraid to jump. The biggest tragedy we have to avoid is not living our life alive. Thank you for allowing me to help you prosper. If you like this podcast, please review and subscribe. You can find out more about me at laterallaw.com/Laws of Abundance podcast. I'm your host, Angel Lateral, and I can help with that.